Listen to me. Right now, at this very moment, your entire life is being shaped by one thing: the thoughts you entertain and the actions you take. Every result, every success, every failure, it all comes down to how you operate in this moment. And the truth is, most people live in reaction mode. They wait, they hesitate, they let fear, doubt, and limitations dictate their destiny. But today, right here, that changes, because I'm going to show you exactly how to take control, how to master your emotions, develop unshakable certainty, and execute at a level most people only dream about. See, people think success is about luck, about talent, about having the right resources. But I'm here to tell you, it's about conditioning. It's about rewiring your mind, your body, and your habits to operate at a completely different level. And the first thing you need to understand, the foundation of everything, is this: your emotions determine your success. You don't get what you want, you get what you are. Most people believe that success, wealth, love, or happiness come from external factors. They think if I just had more money, then I'd feel successful, or if I could find the right partner, then I'd feel loved. But this is completely backward. You don't receive these things first and then become the person who deserves them. You become the person first, and then you attract them into your life. Everything in your life right now is a reflection of your internal identity. If you feel broke, it's not just because of your bank account. It's because of the way you think, act, and believe about money. If you feel stuck in life, it's not the circumstances. It's the way you see yourself within those circumstances. The world around you is mirroring what you believe to be true about yourself. Change the identity, and the external reality has no choice but to shift in response. Think about this. A person who wins the lottery but still sees themselves as poor will eventually lose all that money. Why? Because they never shifted their identity to match their new financial status. On the other hand, a millionaire who loses everything will find a way to rebuild their fortune. Why? Because their identity is aligned with abundance. They don't just have money, they are wealth. Their thoughts, decisions, and habits reflect that. If you want more success, you need to become the type of person who naturally attracts success. That means thinking like a successful person, making decisions like a successful person, showing up with the confidence and energy of a successful person. You cannot have a scarcity mindset and expect abundance. You cannot carry self-doubt and expect opportunities. You cannot live in fear and expect breakthroughs. This is why so many people struggle with manifestation. They think it's about wanting something badly enough, but that's not enough. You can want something all day long, but if deep down you don't believe you're the kind of person who gets it, you will sabotage yourself every time. You'll make excuses, procrastinate, or settle for less than you deserve. Not because you don't want it, but because your subconscious mind will always pull you back to what feels familiar. Identity is the key. The way you see yourself, whether consciously or unconsciously, sets the limits for what you allow yourself to have. A person who sees themselves as unworthy of love will keep attracting toxic relationships. A person who sees themselves as a victim will keep experiencing circumstances that reinforce that belief. A person who believes they're not capable will never take the actions needed to prove otherwise. Your results in life are not determined by your desires alone, but by your identity. That's why two people can start with the same goal, the same resources, and the same opportunities, yet one will thrive and the other will fail. The difference is who they believe they are. One believes, I always figure things out, while the other thinks, nothing ever works out for me. Guess who wins? If you want to change your life, start with your identity. Who are you? Who do you believe yourself to be? And most importantly, does that version of you align with the life you want? If not, then the work isn't about chasing external success, it's about upgrading you. Because once you shift who you are at your core, everything else will start to fall into place effortlessly. Upgrade your mindset to match your future self. Your current mindset is a direct reflection of your current results. If you're not where you want to be in life, it's not because of bad luck, lack of opportunity, or external forces beyond your control. It's because the way you think, act, and see the world is still operating at the level of your past, not the level of your future. The future version of you, the one who has everything you desire, thinks differently. They don't have the same fears, doubts, and limitations you hold on to right now. They make different choices. They take different actions. They carry themselves with a different energy. If you want to step into that reality, you need to start thinking like that person now. The biggest mistake people make is waiting until they have proof before they believe. They say, once I make more money, then I'll believe I'm successful. Or once I get fit, then I'll feel confident. But that's not how the mind works. You don't wait for evidence, you create it. Your brain is constantly looking for proof to confirm your beliefs. If you keep operating from your old mindset, you'll only see and experience things that reinforce your current situation. To upgrade your mindset, you need to reprogram the way you think on a deep level. First, you must identify the limiting beliefs that are holding you back. What are the thoughts that run through your mind every day? Are they empowering or are they filled with doubt? Do they push you forward or do they keep you stuck? If you constantly think, I'm not smart enough, or I'm too old, or I don't have enough time, then your subconscious will make sure those beliefs stay true. You must replace those thoughts with new, powerful beliefs that align with your future self. Start speaking to yourself as if you are already successful. When doubt creeps in, override it with certainty. If your old belief says, I'm not good at making money, you replace it with, I am a wealth magnet. Money flows to me effortlessly. If your old belief says, I always fail, you replace it with, I always find a way to succeed. Your words matter, your thoughts matter, your focus matters. Every time you repeat a new belief, you strengthen new neural pathways in your brain. Over time, this becomes your new default mode of thinking, and once that happens, the external world must shift to match it. Another key to upgrading your mindset is changing your environment. The people you surround yourself with, the content you consume, the conversations you engage in, all of these shape your beliefs. If you want to think bigger, be around people who challenge you to grow. If you want to believe in success, learn from those who have achieved it. If you want to feel limitless, remove anything from your life that reinforces scarcity and fear. You must also embody the emotions of your future self. If the person you want to become is confident, then feel that confidence now. If they are abundant, feel abundant now. If they are powerful, walk into every room with that energy now. Your mind doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality, so when you train it to feel and think like your future self, it starts finding ways to turn that vision into reality. This isn't about faking it, it's about aligning yourself with the energy, habits, and mindset of the person who already has what you desire, because once you fully step into that version of yourself, the results you've been chasing will start chasing you. Eliminate the I'm not enough belief. Rewire your thoughts. The belief that you're not enough is the single greatest obstacle standing between you and the life you want. It's the root of hesitation, fear, self-sabotage, and the feeling of being stuck. Most people don't even realize they're carrying this belief. They blame external circumstances, past failures, or lack of resources, but deep down, the real issue is the story they've been telling themselves, whether consciously or unconsciously, that says they are not worthy, not capable, not deserving. You have to understand that your brain is designed to protect you, not to help you thrive. It holds on to limiting beliefs because it thinks they keep you safe. If you believe you're not good enough, you won't take big risks. If you believe you'll fail, you won't put yourself out there. If you believe success is only for other people, you won't try. Your brain creates these limitations because it fears the unknown. But the truth is, your beliefs are not facts. They are just patterns of thought you've accepted as reality. The first step to eliminating the I'm not enough belief is recognizing when it shows up. Pay attention to the moments when you hesitate, when you second guess yourself, when you talk yourself out of something. What is the voice in your head saying? Are you telling yourself that you're not talented enough, not experienced enough, not ready yet? That voice is a lie. It's an old program that needs to be rewritten. Rewiring your thoughts means replacing these old beliefs with new, empowering ones. It means refusing to accept the default narrative and choosing a new one. Every time your mind tries to convince you that you're not enough, you interrupt the pattern. You replace it with a statement of power. Instead of, I'm not smart enough, you say, I am resourceful and always find a way. Instead of, I don't deserve success, you say, I am worthy of everything I desire. Your mind will resist this at first. It will try to snap back to the old belief because that's what feels familiar. But the more you repeat the new thought, the stronger it becomes. Your brain is constantly forming neural connections, and the thoughts you focus on the most become the strongest pathways. If you've spent years reinforcing the belief that you're not enough, it won't disappear overnight. But with daily repetition and emotional intensity, you can literally reprogram your mind. Visualization is another powerful way to shift your self-perception. When you imagine yourself as already being enough, already being powerful, already being the version of yourself that has everything you want, your mind starts to accept it as reality. Close your eyes and see yourself walking into a room with total confidence. See yourself achieving your biggest goal effortlessly. Feel the emotions of success, of certainty, of worthiness. The more vividly you experience this in your mind, the faster your subconscious accepts it as your new identity. Your actions must also align with your new belief. If you want to believe you're enough, you have to prove it to yourself through action. You take the first step even when you're scared. You show up even when you don't feel ready. You speak up even when your voice shakes. Confidence isn't something you wait for, it's something you build through repetition. The more you step into your power, the more natural it becomes. The world will reflect back to you what you believe about yourself. If you believe you're not enough, you will attract situations that confirm that belief. But if you shift your mindset, if you decide right now that you are more than enough, the universe will align to match that energy. The people, opportunities, and success you once thought were out of reach will start to flow toward you. Not because they suddenly appeared, but because you finally removed the walls that were blocking them. Surround yourself with people who embody success. Your environment dictates your future more than you realize. The people you surround yourself with influence your beliefs, habits, energy, and mindset. If you spend time around people who think small, make excuses, and settle for mediocrity, you will subconsciously adopt the same patterns. But if you surround yourself with people who embody success, people who challenge themselves, think big, and push beyond limitations, you will naturally elevate your own standards. Humans are wired for adaptation. We mirror the behaviors of those around us. This is why you can take an ambitious person and place them in a room full of negativity, and over time their drive begins to fade. On the other hand, if you take someone who doubts themselves and put them in a room full of high achievers, their confidence starts to grow. The energy you expose yourself to becomes the energy you operate from. Most people don't realize how much their environment is shaping them. They assume their struggles come from lack of motivation or discipline, when in reality, it's often the result of being surrounded by people who reinforce the wrong beliefs. If you constantly hear it's too hard, you should be realistic, or people like us don't get those opportunities, then those thoughts become part of your subconscious program. You don't even question them. You accept them as truth, and your actions reflect those limitations. The fastest way to accelerate your growth is to put yourself in an environment that forces you to level up. If you want to think bigger, be around people who set ambitious goals. If you want to develop more discipline, spend time with people who take massive action. If you want to build wealth, learn from those who have already done it. The more you expose yourself to a higher standard, the more that standard becomes your new normal. Your circle determines your ceiling. If you're always the smartest, most driven person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Growth happens when you are surrounded by people who challenge you, who push you beyond what you thought was possible. These people won't let you settle. They won't accept your excuses. They will call you out when you start playing small. This doesn't mean you need to cut everyone out of your life, but it does mean you need to be intentional about who you give your energy to. Some relationships drain you while others fuel you. Some conversations leave you feeling inspired while others fill you with doubt. Pay attention to the people who elevate you and spend more time in their presence. If you don't have those people in your immediate circle, seek them out. Read books written by high achievers. Listen to podcasts that expand your thinking. Join groups and communities where people are pushing themselves to new levels. Success leaves clues. When you immerse yourself in the mindset, habits, and energy of successful people, you start to adopt the same patterns. You begin to see possibilities where you once saw obstacles. You start making decisions from a place of confidence instead of fear. Your self-accord transforms because you are constantly surrounded by proof of what is possible. Most importantly, the right environment doesn't just inspire you, it holds you accountable. When you are surrounded by people who expect greatness, you rise to that expectation. You stop making excuses because excuses don't exist in that world. You stop procrastinating because everyone around you is taking action. You stop questioning your worth because the people in your life see your potential and refuse to let you settle for less. Your success is a direct reflection of your environment. If you want to change your life, change the people you spend your time with. Surround yourself with those who remind you of your potential, who push you forward, and who embody the success you aspire to create. Break old patterns. Your habits must align with your vision. Your habits shape your future. No matter how big your dreams are, if your daily actions don't align with them, you will never reach them. Most people focus on what they want, but they don't realize that what they do every single day is what truly determines their results. You can visualize success, affirm your goals, and set big intentions, but if your habits contradict those desires, nothing will change. Your brain is designed to follow patterns. The actions you repeat become automatic, turning into habits that dictate your outcomes. If you have habits that reinforce procrastination, doubt, and inconsistency, those habits will keep you stuck. But if you develop habits that reinforce discipline, confidence, and momentum, success becomes inevitable. The key is recognizing the patterns that no longer serve you and replacing them with ones that align with the life you want to create. The first step in breaking old patterns is awareness. Pay attention to the small, automatic decisions you make throughout the day. What do you do when you feel stressed? Do you escape into distractions or do you take productive action? How do you spend your mornings? Do you start with focus and intention or do you immediately reach for your phone and lose yourself in distractions? These small moments define your results more than you think. Most people assume that big transformations require drastic changes, but real success comes from small, consistent shifts in behavior. If you want to be healthier, you don't need to overhaul your entire lifestyle overnight. You need to start making daily choices that move you in that direction. If you want financial freedom, you don't need to suddenly make millions. You need to start developing habits of wealth building, such as saving, investing, and learning about money. Success is not about one big action. It's about the small, consistent actions that compound over time. Breaking old patterns also requires disrupting your comfort zone. Your brain resists change because it craves familiarity, even if that familiarity is holding you back. If you've always avoided discomfort, your mind will try to keep you in that pattern. But growth only happens when you push beyond what feels safe. If you want to develop new habits, you have to be willing to endure the initial discomfort of change. Your environment plays a huge role in your ability to break old patterns. If your surroundings make it easy to fall into old habits, change them. If you're trying to focus, but your phone is constantly pulling you into distractions, put it in another room. If you're trying to eat healthier, but your kitchen is full of junk food, remove the temptation. If you're trying to be more productive, but your workspace is cluttered, create an environment that supports focus. The fewer obstacles you have, the easier it becomes to reinforce new habits. Accountability is another key to breaking old patterns. When you try to change habits in isolation, it's easy to fall back into old behaviors. But when you have someone holding you to a higher standard, you are far more likely to follow through. Find a mentor, a coach, or a group of people who will challenge you to stay consistent. Share your goals with someone who won't let you make excuses. Your daily habits are the foundation of your future. Every decision you make is either reinforcing an old identity or shaping a new one. If your actions are not aligned with your vision, you must change them. Success isn't about hoping for better results. It's about making the necessary adjustments in your habits, routines, and mindset to ensure that the results become inevitable. Master your emotions. Your state determines your success. Your emotions are the driving force behind every action you take. The state you operate from determines your decisions, your energy, and ultimately your results. If you constantly allow fear, doubt, or frustration to control you, you will make choices that reflect those emotions. But if you learn to master your emotional state, if you can shift into confidence, certainty, and power at will, you will take the kind of action that leads to massive success. Most people think their emotions are outside of their control, that they are at the mercy of circumstances. But the truth is, you can change your emotional state in an instant. It starts with understanding that emotions are nothing more than patterns. You feel fear because you've conditioned yourself to respond to uncertainty with hesitation. You feel overwhelmed because you've reinforced the habit of focusing on what's wrong instead of what's possible. The moment you decide to take control of your emotions, everything changes. One of the fastest ways to shift your emotional state is through physiology. The way you move, breathe, and carry yourself sends powerful signals to your brain. If you're feeling uncertain, your posture is probably weak, you're breathing shallow, your energy low. But if you stand tall, breathe deeply, and move with power, your brain immediately starts associating those movements with confidence. Emotion is created through motion. If you want to feel unstoppable, start moving like someone who is unstoppable. Language is another powerful tool for emotional mastery. The words you use shape your reality. If you constantly say, "I'm exhausted," "I'm overwhelmed," "I'm stuck," you reinforce those emotions. But if you start saying, "I'm energized," "I'm in control," "I always find a way," your brain begins to believe it. Your emotions are not random. They are patterns you have reinforced. The more you consciously choose empowering emotions, the more automatic they become. Surrounding yourself with the right energy is also crucial. If you're around people who complain, who live in negativity, who focus on problems, their energy will pull you down. But if you spend time with people who think big, who operate from certainty and power, their energy will lift you up. You absorb the emotional state of those around you, so choose wisely. The key is to condition yourself daily. Mastering your emotions isn't something you do once. It's a habit you build. Start each day by putting yourself in a peak state. Move with intensity. Focus on what you're grateful for. Speak with certainty. Train yourself to shift emotions on command, because when you control your state, you control your actions. And when you control your actions, you control your destiny. Develop unshakable certainty. Doubt kills more dreams than failure ever will. Certainty is the foundation of all success. When you believe with absolute certainty that something is possible, you take the kind of action that makes it inevitable. But when you hesitate, when you let doubt creep in, you weaken your ability to execute. Doubt kills more dreams than failure ever will, because doubt stops you before you even begin. It keeps you in your head, overanalyzing, questioning, waiting for the right moment. But success doesn't come from hesitation. It comes from decisive action backed by total belief. Most people wait for external validation before they feel certain. They wait until they have more experience, more knowledge, more proof that they can succeed. But certainty doesn't come from external factors. It comes from within. It's a decision. You don't need proof to believe in yourself. You need belief to create proof. When you operate with unshakable certainty, you see obstacles as temporary, setbacks as lessons, challenges as opportunities to grow. You don't get stuck in fear because you trust that no matter what happens, you will figure it out. The fastest way to build certainty is through conditioning. Every day, reinforce the belief that you are unstoppable, that you always find a way, that success is inevitable. Your brain believes whatever you tell it repeatedly. If you constantly tell yourself that you're not ready, not good enough, not capable, you will hesitate. Your body can trick your mind into confidence. Another way to develop certainty is to study those who have already achieved what you want. Success leaves clues. When you immerse yourself in the stories, strategies, and mindsets of people who have created massive results, you begin to see patterns. You realize that they weren't special, they weren't lucky, they just refused to let doubt control them. They acted with certainty long before they had proof, and their belief made their success inevitable. Take massive action. Execution is everything. Most people wait for the perfect moment, but success doesn't come from waiting, it comes from action. The most successful people don't hesitate, they move fast, adjust along the way, and figure things out as they go. Overthinking and fear paralyze most people, keeping them stuck in the same cycle of inaction. But clarity and confidence don't come before action, they come because of it. The longer you wait, the more fear takes hold. Success isn't about having the best plan, it's about executing, failing fast, and learning faster than everyone else. Massive action means eliminating excuses, pushing forward despite challenges, and committing fully to your goals. It's about showing up every day, refusing to quit, and adapting as needed. Surround yourself with action takers. Because hesitation is contagious, execution is a habit, and once you develop it, success becomes inevitable. Condition your mind daily. Success is a mindset game. Your mind is your most powerful tool. Everything you achieve starts there. Success isn't about luck or talent. It's about mastering your mindset. If you don't take control of your thoughts, the world will do it for you. Most people let fear, negativity, and limiting beliefs shape their reality, keeping them stuck. But the most successful condition their minds daily, programming themselves for success. Your brain needs training just like your body. What you feed it determines how you perform. Start each day with intention. Fuel your mind with empowering thoughts. Affirm your goals and visualize success. Your self-talk shapes your identity, and your identity dictates your actions. If you tell yourself you're unstoppable, your mind will align with that belief. Cut out negativity, protect your energy, and surround yourself with influences that push you forward. Success is a mindset game. Win it every day. Success isn't an accident, it's a choice. It happens when you condition your mind, take massive action, and surround yourself with certainty. The question is, will you apply this breakthrough and manifest your dreams, or will you stay stuck in the same patterns? The future is in your hands. Make it count. This is Tony Robbins' track. If this fired you up, stay connected, stay hungry, and stay committed. This is just the beginning. Let's go.